recording? Yeah, good.
Yeah, welcome to the first podcast that we're doing.
Photo and video podcast.
Yeah, we're both into photography and videography, so yeah, just gonna talk a little bit about cameras and
how we got into cameras and
yeah.
I mean, the first time I remember really being into cameras, I would say was high school, where I was like I wanted to take part of it, was in like video class. What was it? Was it Miss Carp?
Miss Carter.
Carter. Yeah,
Carter.
that was she was definitely hot. That was like the first time I remember being like, I want to make a video for sure, or like make something. But the first time I like saw a camera was my aunt used to carry around this like, it must have been Nikon because I remember like the logo, but she'd like carry this case around. We used to make fun of her. I'm talking like real little. Like I was a kid and she'd always have these lenses and stuff. And all the photos were always terrible because she never knew how to use it.
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
that was the first time I saw like.
And it was filmed back in the day.
Yeah,
too.
that was the first time I saw like a real camera, like a real SLR back then. Yeah. And then in high school, like being in video class was like.
Yeah. And that was, I think, Final Cut Pro 7. Back then.
That's right.
That was crazy.
Making skate videos.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've been into video. I bought my first video camera, or actually, I saved up enough money to buy my first video camera with Dan Norelli back in the day for skating.
Wait, what
and my dad
it
ended
was
up
a
buying
Sony,
it.
wasn't it?
No, it was a little handheld Canon video camera. Yeah, it's terrible. But I ended up getting that, and I used to film like just us skating, us messing around on the mini 8mm tapes or whatever they were.
That's right.
And then it upgraded to, I got the Sony VX100 or 1000. Those kind of cameras.
That's the first camera I remember you having was like that.
Yeah, those were dope.
Yep.
Because I mean, when I was a kid, I was just into it, just kind of messing around. I wasn't like into it as like a living or doing something.
We just
with it.
wanted
I was
to make
messing around.
cool videos.
Yeah. So, my first photography camera was actually the T2i. And that was the real first camera that did video, that did like good video. That was a DSLR.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to call it good video, but it did like decent video. Yeah. I mean, I remember when you had that. And then like I think a couple years later, I got the Nikon D5200, which I had for like 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the first like real camera that I had when I was in architecture school, my mom bought this, like, I was like, I needed to take pictures of my like projects and like document it, put it in portfolios. So my mom bought me this like Sony, like extra zoom, like, back then it was probably like 4 megapixel pictures or whatever.
Right. Dude. And that's crazy to think about the cameras then and like the megapixels now that you can go to.
Dude.
It's unbelievable.
And not even, I mean, the other day I was actually with our friend Peter, I was looking at photos from like 10 years ago, maybe 15 years. The files were like 20 kilobytes. Think about that for a second. 20 kilobytes. I mean, my camera on decent resolution takes 50 megabytes. Like it blows my mind. The technology's definitely changed.
It's crazy.
For sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But I remember using that Sony camera in college, and like I took a photography class to like do the to do the basics. It was just what is aperture and exposure.
You know
just
what's
like
funny
the simple things,
is
because there was no YouTube.
Dude, the basics are so easy once you get to know them. But understanding them, it's so confusing at first. Because when I got into it, I was just like, what is because I just used it for video, my T2i. And then I was like, oh, well, I might as well go out and take some photos because it takes photos.
I remember saying to you, you should take photos. Like I was the one that got you into like, you were always video. I was like, dude, you got to do photography.
Dude, I remember the first action shot I got of an osprey catching it was like a flounder or something, catching a fish. I was so excited. And you were like, oh, try aperture priority.
Right.
And I was so pissed because I missed I got the shot,
it wasn't
but
perfect,
sucked.
right?
Because going from the sky and then coming down to the dark water,
it just fucked up your exposure, right?
Yeah, so I was like, fuck, because I was always manual mode.
Right, which is, I know you owe, and I even to this day, I only shoot manual in like a super controlled environment. Like right now, right? Shooting manual mode, but like,
I'll always manual.
Dude, in running gun situations, I just don't want to miss the shot. So like,
Right.
aperture priority or manual if it's like if it's like the sky's not changing in the whole 9 yards, because it's better to have at least a photo and be able to modify it later than not have one.
There's a lot of professional photographers that use aperture priority.
For sure.
A lot. Yeah. The way, like, because I do a lot of wildlife photography. So when I get out there, as soon as I get out of the car, I'll set my camera up to whatever whatever the lighting is. So like, I'm always prepared. But
yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal. I mean, yeah, I can't remember. I totally remember you being like, dude, you got to do photography with the T2i. What did you have for did you just had a kit lens? Is that what you started with?
I had the kit lens. I had the T2i. I think I might have bought like the 50 millimeter 1.8. Right. That's like $150.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah. But then I started getting into photos and I wanted the higher frame rate. And so then I upgraded to the 7D Mark I. Right. And I was like, oh my God, this camera was awesome.
Like six or seven? Like
it was 8, I think 8 frames a second. So it was fast. I mean, it was the best wildlife camera besides going to like a 1DX, but
yeah, which is ridiculous money. But
and I mean, I got that within like, I had the T2i and then I think I got the 7D within like
quick. It was quick, like
5 months after that, because I started getting into it. So I was like, all right, I need to upgrade.
You're always full send. Like if you're in, you're in.
Yeah, yeah, I'm always full send.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'm always full send.
Yeah, I remember having that like long zoom camera for a while. I took that class, like learned the basics, and then bought that Nikon. Pretty much probably right around when you got that 770D. Because you were like pushing him, you were like, get Canon. And I don't know why I bought Nikon.
I loved it. I
probably
and
back in the day, I probably should.
I mean, there's no
Canon,
difference.
Though. I know, but you and I could have like shared lenses.
Exactly,
and, like,
swap lenses. I mean, Canon has such a huge range of lenses that you can use. And to me, I love Canon's color. I went with Panasonic for a minute. I actually bought the DVX 200 video camera.
Which is sick.
Just because I wanted to like switch it up. Awesome camera, dude. It was awesome. I ended up selling it, which I'm pissed about because I sold it for way under what I got it for. But as soon as I got a C100 Mark II, and I put a lens on that, and I was just like, this is unreal.
Just like,
because this DVX 200 was a fixed lens. It was a video camera, so you didn't really have the blown out background. You couldn't switch anything, so it wasn't. And the skin tones on Panasonic were just terrible.
Yeah,
anything I shot outside was awesome, but anything I shot inside was just not. And I know my white balance, I know all that stuff. So it wasn't like the camera was just like it just couldn't do it.
It's all good. I mean, that's kind of trial and error for sure. I mean, now that I shoot Sony, like Nikon was such junk. I shouldn't say it was junk.
Yeah,
it really doesn't matter what you shoot on at the end of the day. Like you can still produce within reason the same results, but like I'm so glad I made the switch. It just feels like a real camera.
Sony's killing it though. They're packing so many features in their cameras. They're killing it.
Yeah, it's crazy for sure.
I almost actually switched to the Sony.
I know, dude.
The A7 III. Dude. I was so close to buying that. And selling all my Canon stuff, but it was just every time I put it in my hands, it was just too small. I was just like, I can't
for
do
what
it.
you do. I mean, you do more video. I think Canon's definitely. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. There's a ton of Sony shooters out there that like shoot. Video, but
Sony's great, but Canon by far has the best skin tones, the best color for sure.
But the thing is, most people color grade anyway.
Yeah.
We'll get into a Sony Canon battle later, but
yeah.
And then I mean. I guess we can talk about like what kind of genres that you shoot. I mean, you love wildlife photography. Like that's what I like to do on my free time is wildlife. I absolutely love it. I started doing video, wildlife, and photography. It's so hard to do both. Bringing so many cameras, bringing lenses, and it's so hard. Yeah, it's unbelievably hard. It's just a lot of gear. But I mean, I've shot photos for everything: portraits, weddings. Landscape, I mean everything. It's just my passion is not. I hate modeling people. I hate setting people up. You got to look this way. You got to do this. Yeah, I'm not a people person. So, yeah. I mean that's definitely your niche. I mean mine is definitely. I like landscapes for sure. That's my thing. Like just it doesn't even have to be waterfalls. Like architecture, city, I like wildlife. It's just, dude, you go out there and you can sit there for hours and wait for something.
You got to put in some time for the wildlife.
I'll sit and do take one shot in 45 minutes at something, but you'll sit there for hours.
Oh yeah.
And I've never really gotten into macro, but like I love product photography.
Actually, product photography is good, but I got into macro for a minute.
Yeah.
I got into macro photography and I was loving it, but then I bought like the step down rings and all that, and like the reverse your lens, and So, but it was cool, but it just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't as exciting, so I kind of just fell off. For sure. But macro photography is awesome.
It's just great. It's the detail you can't see with a naked eye.
Yeah, it's things
blows my mind.
Exactly. It's things you don't see on the regular. Yeah,
for sure. That's cool.
But they have that new macro lens that I'm trying to get. It's like that long tube lens.
Oh, I've seen that. So Peter McKinnon,
I forget what it's called.
Just did a video on that.
Yeah, he did a video on it. And Him and Daniel Schaefer.
That's right. And he does the coffee thing where it goes in. Those can't be that expensive. Those lenses.
It's around $1,200. Right. And it's waterproof up to a certain point. It has LEDs on the end of it.
So the actual probe, like the lens, can go in the water?
The probe up to a certain point can go into water, yeah.
That's
so you can go
sick.
straight into some water.
I didn't know that. That's
I've been looking at that lens for probably 6-7 months now.
That's cool.
I just haven't pulled the trigger. No, it's an amazing amazing
I texted
lens.
you like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago and wanted to do like the fish tank thing with the lights and all that stuff. That we have to do for sure.
Yep.
Kind of product photography, like I love that shit. I think it's just that controlled environment and making it something look more badass than it really is. That's that's what I love.
Life.
You take like a normal like a Red Bull can or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're like, damn.
Well, the good thing for you, do you ever bring your photos into Photoshop?
Not that often.
Because you know Photoshop,
dude.
good.
I know Photoshop. I don't want to say like
So
there's always people better than you, but I know it very well.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like. And I definitely obviously modify my photos, but I never
but you don't want to modify it like
I don't know why. And I don't have like if somebody does that, I'm happy for you, but like I don't ever want to like add in a different sky or like change something about it. So but I'm pretty nasty at Photoshop. Yeah,
because they have Photoshop for the iPad now.
I can't do it. It's not the same. It's not the same. So here's the thing.
It's definitely not the same, but it's dope. You can do some cool stuff.
I know, and you've got the iPad Pro, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I love it.
I've tried it on the iPad Pro, and like with the pen and everything, it's just I feel like I'm lost. Like I'm so used to looking at my computer and the hotkeys.
Because you're used to the mouse and absolutely.
And I just like I'm super slow on the iPad, whereas I'm a lot quicker and like I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that going straight up iPad. I couldn't even do it in Lightroom.
Oh, absolutely.
Could you do it in Lightroom?
I was just about to bring up Lightroom. So I have Lightroom on my iPad as well. But for some reason, I would rather do Lightroom on my computer than my iPad.
See, that's
every time. I don't know why.
I feel the same way. I mean, I'd actually be more apt to use Lightroom on an iPad than I would Photoshop because like you're just adjusting sliders and things like that most of the time. I mean, you might be adding gradients and stuff, but with Photoshop, like you have to have precise control, and it's like the zoom, and then you got to grab the pen again. I just feel like a mouse or like a trackpad on a Mac is
would just be better.
It's easier.
Yeah.
We both run Macs for everything, right? So
I was PC back in the day, but I love Mac. Just syncs with everything. I love it.
It is for Photoshop and video. I think it's the best. I don't know.
I'm gonna be switching to Final Cut soon.
Are you going?
I'm on Premiere now.
Are you gonna go back?
I don't know. I mean, I was Final Cut for a while.
Dude, for years you were Final Cut.
And then I went to Premiere for work.
Right.
And then it's just Final Cut just works better with the footage because it's a Mac OS system. So it just works better.
The only thing that I don't like about Final Cut is like I feel like you don't have as much control, right? So with Premiere, it's like you literally can do anything with your footage.
And that's exactly how I feel.
But
not only that, you can bring it into After Effects. It syncs up everything. You can bring it to Audition. It syncs up perfectly. Mm-hmm. So there's other programs that you can use that are just amazing.
But for 90% of what you do, of like just like basic, whether it's like commercial or you're cutting like a B-roll segment or whatever, Final Cut works because you're not modifying the footage that much.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, Final Cut's just stupid powerful, but I do feel like Premiere has just a little bit extra you can do.
Oh, not even a little bit. Right. I think it's huge. I think it's literally a huge difference. But Yeah, you used it more than I did. I mean, I have it on my Mac because I'm like an Adobe like monthly subscription or whatever. But
that's the thing I hate is Adobe monthly subscription. I hate that.
It's cheap, man. It's like, what is it, like $10, $5 a month or something?
Well, no, it's like 75 or something to have. I have all of them. I have the whole.
So
suite.
do I, but I think it was like they run like a Black Friday thing every year, and I'm pretty sure I paid like $60 for the month. I mean, for $60 for the year,
every month,
$60
right?
for the year for everything.
Way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So, because I use it for work. I use Illustrator for work and all that stuff.
Right.
Which I love.
Yeah. I mean, granted, right. So we have the restaurant. The restaurant pays for it, but it just sucks paying that much every month.
Yeah,
so.
It is what it is. But you have access to the best and the newest updates and everything, for sure.
Yeah. But. So yeah, I mean now I just got the EOS R. And I absolutely love that camera. I love it just because I needed something that did video, photos.
Right. Talk about frame rates,
and it has the flip screen.
What is it?
Frame rates?
What is that? That thing's got to have.
Dude, it doesn't. If this camera had 10 frames a second, it would be an unbelievable camera. It has, I think it's like 5 frames a second or maybe 8.
We can look it up.
But then as soon as you do servo tracking, it steps down to like 5 or 3.
But your autofocus is on point when you do that, right?
It's an amazing camera, but when you're trying to get action shots and you need to track, the frame rate goes down, so it's not as quick.
Do you still use your 70D for like wildlife, or you?
So I sold my 7D Mark II, and I was super bummed. I sold it to my buddy, and I was like, "Hey, you want to sell it back?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I'll just try to get used to the EOS R. And I actually just bought the battery grip to make it feel a little bit bigger in my hand. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go to a 1DX Mark III just because that's like 10 grand.
Dude, it's so, I mean, you do video on the side and I do like a little, but like for a hobby, that's like ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's either I might end up buying a 70 Mark II again, but, or I might just try to get the EOS R to work good with action shots. I mean, it works great.
Well, it's just sometimes it's tough. The new 5,
the EOS R5.
R5, right?
Things, yeah. There's a lot of hype on that.
Let's see what the deal is with that. I mean,
there's a lot of. That's almost a perfect camera.
Well,
I think it does 120.
No, 2.
I want to say I don't think it does 124K.
Does it do 2?
But
what camera does 240? The 5D Mark.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a FS7, FS5.
Okay.
Yeah, but the EOS R does 120, but at 720. Like who the fuck uses? Who uses 720? You know.
Well,
what I mean?
It's the same. Like I shoot with an A7 Mark II, and like mine's I don't even shoot 4K, which 90% of the time don't need it, but.
But you have 120 on that one.
I have 60 frames. So
really the fastest it goes.
Because I don't have the A7 II Mark, or I don't have the A7R or A7S. I just have the standard A7 II. Because again, majority of the time I shoot just photos, and I do shoot video, but it's like pretty controlled. But I mean I'm starting to invest in the Sony ecosystem, right? So I've got 4 decent lenses now. So I'll probably upgrade at some point to like the A7 III or maybe the A7 IIIR, but. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a good topic. So, I mean, I think
I love it. I'm such a gearhead. Like I love
sometimes
just buying
I like
gear.
the gear better than the
even
photography.
Though I don't need it.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Actually, the research is what I love. Right, being able to call somebody and be like, "Hey, what do you recommend?" And then you're on Amazon and Google and video.
Oh my God, Amazon, YouTube, looking up everything. Yeah, I love that. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's like you don't need it. I look back and I'm like, I didn't need to change from my 7D
I could have kept my
Mark II to my EOS R because. It's not. I don't shoot 4K, or I rarely shoot 4K. But but the one thing that I do love about it is the flip out screen. Because on my C100 Mark II with the flip out screen, I use it every single time.
Yeah, so that I don't have that, right? So that's the one problem with my camera is I can't see.
Right. Sony just has it pop out.
Right. It just like articulates so that you can get low angles and stuff. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
That has to be a patent thing.
I don't know. I feel like they could do it. I mean, because think about like the A6000 series, those flip up.
They flip up. So that's why I think it's a patent thing where you can't have the screen rotate the way Canon's does.
Yeah, but no, because Nikon
Sony flips straight up.
Nikon and Panasonic's do it. I don't know. I feel like it's just like a design
yeah,
language.
maybe that's
like
weird.
don't. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe they want you to buy some
It'd be great if they
aftermarket,
did,
like
but
you know.
right. So Sony did that a long time with their microphones on top of it. They didn't have the microphone jack, so you'd have to buy the Sony standard microphone to go on the top. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I had actually a couple of Sonys. I had like the Sony
because you had
RX 1000 or whatever it was, 100
Mark III or whatever.
and then I had another Sony camera. The A6000. I had that.
Yep.
Yeah, but I just couldn't get over the color.
I know you hated it.
Which is terrible. Too contrasty. Yeah, I hated it.
Yeah. All good. Cool. Well, I think that's a great first podcast.
Word. Yeah, this was great.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a structure of what next episodes will be, whether it's like reviewing gear or, you know, just topics within. We're probably going to start with like a basics of photography and like some of the things that we struggled with as photographers.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Videographers.
Actually, I should have busted this out. This is the with the lens on.
Dude, look at
C100.
the size of
that's not even with like the microphone.
Yeah, but 90% of people that use that is on a tripod.
Oh, always. Yeah. Always on a tripod, but that's what I'm lugging through the woods, you know, and then my other camera, I'm like...
It's ridiculous. It's out of control. Cool.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All right.
But sounds good, man.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Great first episode.
All right, so till next time.
Till next time.